Holy crap, the streak is over. Oh, thank God. The Sharks are victorious on this night in a shootout. We'll break this down and everything happening right now. This is Teal Town After Dark. Good evening, everyone. It is Thursday night, February 24th, 2022. The San Jose Sharks are victorious in stealth jerseys. What? What is going on here? Oh, my goodness. Welcome to Teal Town After Dark. This is your live and interactive Sharks post-game. We do this after every game, so if you want to be part of the show, here's how you do it. Chat with us and fellow Sharks fans on the page or the app. Follow us on the social, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Smash that subscribe button. Tell all your friends. Also hit us up on the SoundCloud, Reddit, and of course Discord after the show, and find everything at tealtownusa.com. Ian, Reed, you've moved and it's nice and sunny outside. How are you, man?
It's a sunny day. The Sharks win and everyone's happy.
Oh man, yeah. This one, replicated pretty much the it was like Tuesday night against Anaheim. I thought they played well early on, but then. They had to hang on to their chinny chin, it seemed like, though.
Yeah, I mean, this game was a real mixed bag. There's a lot to like. There's a lot to dislike. And there's points in this game where I'm like, I don't think this team's ever going to win a game ever again.
That's not good.
But, yeah, I mean, a real mixed bag, this one. I mean, obviously, the end result is nice. The Sharks win, and that's a nice thing, obviously, after this stretch has been just awful. But at the same time, it's like this win doesn't just fill me with confidence going forward that we're not just going to, slide into another slump. So, I mean, maybe it's the start of something, but I don't know. I don't think so.
Let's not, as we would normally say on a win or a big win in years past, let's not get our hopes up. Let's not prepare a parade down Santa Clara Street. But fanatical Teal, we were saying, agreed. Game had everything.
Yeah.
And Ricky Barton-Slager, Team Tank is not happy.
Well, I mean. Yeah, it's a win. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I guess points are points, right? Like, it's not like the rows are going to matter for the Sharks at this point.
Yeah.
So I guess, I mean, I guess if you're Team Tank, you're a little bit disappointed, but there's lots of games left.
Yeah, 31 games left. The Sharks now
31 games left, and they're not all going to be against the bottom teams. Like, the Sharks have done a really good job of beating all the bottom teams except for Seattle for some reason.
Oh, God, right?
But a lot of their wins, if you look at a lot of their wins, though, they've beaten. I mean, they've beaten a couple of good teams, but a lot of their wins have just been against the rest of the bottom of the league, really.
They've had that, but they've beaten a Toronto squad that was struggling. Let's be honest. Yeah. Carolina, they've played fairly well against early in the year.
Beat Calgary
twice.
Yeah. I mean, Calgary got smoked tonight, but I mean, so I mean, but they beat, a lot of the games they've won aren't against the juggernauts of the league. So,
right. So let's get at this one. Of course, a historic night as Zdeno Chara becomes the all-time games played leader by a defenseman. Kudos to the Sharks, for getting Patty to say something to him, be like, well, come after my record or something.
Yeah, good for him, right? I know Chris Chelios played till he was almost 50, but I mean, by the end there, he was dressing so little that it was kind of just it was a joke. Zdeno Chara, though, despite the fact that he's 44 now, 45,
something like that, yeah.
Still dresses considerably more. Like, he's still a pretty consistent guy in that lineup. To be able to do that at his age is just unreal. You look around the league, you look at other guys that have played a ton of games or played well into their, I would say well into their 40s. No one plays well into their 40s other than like Chelios and Yager.
Right.
But I mean, like, you look at other guys though, and you see, like, you look at a guy like Joe Thornton who gets maintenance days out the wazoo, right? Like, he's not a lot of guys. It's really hard to play in the league. It's really, really hard to play in this league when your best days are considerably behind you. And I think, with all due respect to Zdeno Chara, I think, he's still an effective player, but his best days are behind him.
Big time. However, I did see on a report on one of the blog sites that the Islanders would consider moving him to a cup contender. I mean, granted, they started the day 17 points out of a playoff spot. But yeah, he's getting calls still. Early on, Nieto gets a hooking call, but yet Chara flips his head backwards for the Islanders to get a power play. They didn't do anything on that, and then Middleton would get a holding call on him. And I'm thinking right off the bat, Ian's like, oh crap, this team is taking penalties to the box. Then a little bit before the 15-minute mark, Brock Nelson gets his 19th. Like, okay, here we go again. They allow the first goal.
Yeah, I mean, blown defensive coverage. I don't know whose fault it was. Bugner decided it was Dahlen's fault. Maybe it was. I don't know. I'd have to go back and watch it again. But, so I think he obviously thought it was Dahlen's fault because Dahlen went back down to the fourth line. I remember after, though, kind of Mario was kind of shaking his head like,
holy
someone
crap,
should have had him. Like,
right. So that made it 1-0. But then the Islanders, Pelech would take an interference call. It would set up a power play, and they would capitalize again. Alexander Barabanov, he's on a roll. And Barbie gets his 8th from Burns and Hurdle that tied this one up at 1-1. Kudos to Barbie getting it done.
Yeah, it's going to make it really interesting going into the deadline to see what the Sharks do with Barabanov. I know that some people are really high. Like, I like Barabanov, don't get me wrong, but I mean, Barabanov's not a young guy though, right?
Right.
Like, he's a
youngish,
new to the league. No, he's 27, man. He's not young at all. So if you give him a 4-year deal, which is what he's rumored to be asking for, brings him to 31. Is 31 the end of the world? No, but I don't know if it gets any better than this. And I get really nervous about the Sharks overpaying guys because they do that a lot. And I really worry with Barabanov. Like, he's a guy where, I don't know, man, I might re-up him for 2 and maybe split the difference. But, like, I think you want something like 4x3 or 4x4, and that scares the shit out of me.
That's almost the bank levels if that's the case.
And that's and that would be my concern, is that I don't know if they're, I like Barabanov. I just don't know if this production is going to be something that he sustains through 4 seasons, or if, kind of like, it's kind of like goalies, right? Like, the book gets out, right? Eventually, goalies figure out where guys are going to shoot or where their tendencies are going to shoot, right?
Right.
So I think my concern with Barabanov would be that he gets paid based off, and he's had a good year. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not trying to, take away from the year that Barabanov's had. I think he's had a really good year. I just worry about him getting overpaid and then not living up to that contract, because that's the last thing the Sharks need, is another guy. Is another guy not living up to his deal.
Right. And that's the last thing they need with him or with this team. They need some stability in their top 6, because Bob likes to, as some of us like to say, jam job Bob. And Dahlen goes back down the 4th line. Then we'll bring back up Gregor clean shaven, trying to do whatever he can to get off another schneid. I wonder what's next. But
Yeah.
about a minute and a half later, though, after the Barabanov goal, Weatherby with a nice steal and a goal there. I his fourth to give the Sharks a 2-1 lead. Nice to have secondary scoring get on the board for Team Teal.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. It was nice to see Weatherby coming back up. Obviously, I think. Look, the fourth line's been kind of garbage all year, right? And I like Weatherby. But again, it's like, I don't know. I'm gonna make the most backhanded compliment ever. I mean, he's not Lane Peterson, so that works to his advantage.
Right.
But I don't know. Like, I don't know what Weatherby's gonna bring long term here, right? So it's nice to see him get a goal. I don't know. Like, I like Weatherby. I like his game on the fourth line. I think he's can be a really nice big body in front of the net.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I just, this fan base loves Weatherby a lot more than I do, and that's fine.
Well, I mean, I'm with you. I like Weatherby. We pretty much followed his days in North Dakota, and he was great on the second power play, being that Tomas Holmstrom guy that I keep wanting to see. So good on him for getting that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I agree. Like, I thought he had a good game tonight, right? But I just feel like on a contending team, there's just no room for a Weatherby. That's all. And I'm not that this team's worried about contending anytime soon, but I don't know.
Hey, we are not.
I don't understand the fascination with them in the fan base. But then again, I like Jeffrey L. So what the hell do I know?
And all those people who are upset about Lane Peterson, well, no comment. The second period, I thought the Islanders were showing a little more fight. For that matter, second and third period, I thought the Islanders really were giving it to them, and sure enough, they got into it. They were really giving a big fight as Viel and Chara. I from what I'm seeing from some of the comments, Jake Middleton said that Chara asked Viel to fight. You don't mess with 44-year-olds, I guess. Yeah. So that fight, I don't know. I mean, kudos to VL for hanging in there, but I didn't think he was gonna go and take him down.
I mean, credit to VL being completely crazy. I don't
right.
I mean, Chara makes everybody look small, but man, Jeffrey L looked really small next to Chara. I guess there's like a 9-inch difference. I mean, I'll give him credit. He went at him, like, he went toe to toe with him. I mean, it's not the smartest thing ever, but he didn't. He could have ran away, and that's not Jeffrey L's game. So, credit to him.
Yeah.
You crazy son of a bitch.
For sure, that wouldn't be the only fight in this period, but in between that, Zach Parise, or is it Parisi or Parise, however he wants to pronounce it this season, he got his 7th, but more importantly, his 400th goal of the year, and in particularly this game that got it tied 2-2.
Yeah, really nice play. They kind of tempted fate, right? Because just before that, I felt like they just started talking about how he was like looking for his 400th goal.
Yeah.
So, of course, oh, he's looking for, and there it is. Yeah. Whatever.
Right. Of course. So that made it 2-2. Nieto, hits Pollock pretty. I thought that was a solid hit. I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. And
the NHL's dumb, right? Like, the NHL's the only league where you have to follow up a legal play with an illegal one, right? Like, look, I'm not anti-fighting, but like I do hate that you have to. Oh, you made a nice clean hit, and you knock someone over. Oh, now you got to fight. Now you got to go to the box for it because stupid hockey. Yeah, I didn't have any issue with it, and good on Nieto, not a fighter, clearly. Um, but he didn't back down, and I it kind of microcosm for the Sharks tonight, just scrappy tonight, like
right.
Scrappy team gets a scrappy win. Yeah, I didn't have any problem with that hit, but kudos to Nieto for handling his own business.
Yeah,
especially considering, especially when you consider. What was I saying? I'm sorry, I am super tired.
In regards to Nieto.
Oh yeah, especially when you consider like who else is on the ice that's going to get that fight for you. You're already down the wash, so the only other guy who's going to get into a fight is Jake Middleton, which the Sharks can't afford. They're already down a defenseman. So credit to Nieto. Yeah, man, credit to Nieto for handling his own stuff and not, getting VL kicked out of the game, or waiting for VL to get kicked out of the game, or having a guy like Jake Middleton also off the ice for 5 minutes, and then the Sharks being down to 4 defenders.
Yeah, and that's the last thing. I mean, you look at it outside Milosh, I think all but one defenseman had over 22 minutes on the night. But kudos to VL for standing up for him. Kudos to Nieto. This was out of context, but Randy kind of basically put it into form tonight.
Better not F with me.
Yeah, we will never F with you, Randy Hahn. That's for damn sure. But they would get a penalty for that. Peugeot would get a roughing call, which I found interesting. Wasn't an instigator. He didn't get the 2-5-10 format, but roughing.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, that's they so rarely, like, that's the other stupid thing, right? Like the instigator penalties, they might as well just get rid of it because they never call it. They they'll do anything but call it. So like, what's the point? But still, I mean, the Sharks got a power play out of it, and Logan Couture has woken up finally.
Thank God.
We were a little worried about Couture. I know last time I was on, I was pretty down on Couture, but he had a big game against Anaheim that I didn't watch, and then he had a big goal tonight. Unfortunately, the lead didn't last.
Yeah, 3 goals in 2 games for Couture from Merkley and Hurdle. So Hurdle had a 2-assist night on the power play to make it 3-2. But of course, 19 seconds later, the Islanders all-star Pelech with a bomb to make it 3-3.
Yeah, James Reimer needs to make that save.
Yeah.
There's no other way around it. Like, I thought Reimer was really good, and I think Reimer's done really well considering the amount of games he's been asked to play, because the Sharks just refused to play Sawchenko. And at this point, like, I understood when they thought they were in it before the mirage disappeared, but now what are you doing? He's like, you already, like, Adin Hill is even Adin Hill even skating yet?
He began skating earlier this week.
So we'll have him ready to go
Sunday. We were hoping.
As soon as we're having him ready to go, and then Reimer will probably go on the IR, because that's just the way the Sharks season has gone this year.
Sawchenko's like, cool, I'll be up here. Wait, what do you mean I don't get to play? What the hell? Yeah, no, that's what it seems like it's been, right? It's been like Reimer and Hill were a tandem for a little bit. Everything seemed to be going good. Then either Hill got hurt, then he came back, then Reimer got hurt, and then they can't catch a break right now.
Yeah, it's definitely something that's a little bit concerning, but I mean, it is what it is. And I thought, as bad as this goal was, obviously Reimer did redeem himself, I think, very well by the end of the game. He made a ton of saves tonight.
Yeah.
Again, I feel like I just worry about the workload that they're asking him to do, especially with the schedule being what it's going to be this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they have to put another goalie in net at some point, whether it's Adin Hill coming back healthy or giving Sawchenko a game. Like, they can't start Reimer
back
3
to back.
games in 4 nights. Like, you just can't.
I'm really concerned that Bugner will do that, and only because Bob, I think, is trying to fight to get this team into the playoffs, because I think he's fighting I don't want to say he's fighting for his job, but his reputation for being a head coach, I think, is on the line here just because.
I mean, the guy, like Bob Bugner's record as like, I don't know what he could do to salvage his reputation as a head coach right now. Like he has a losing record as a head coach
Right.
in the NHL. Granted, like he's never really had a roster to work with. Like those years in Florida, he didn't have much to work with, and the Sharks have obviously had their issues. But some of them, some of the issues the Sharks have though are issues he's created. So I mean,
True.
Like I try not to be like, I think it's you have to point out the facts. Like the fact is he has a losing record as a coach in the NHL. But you have to point out also that he hasn't he's never inherited a juggernaut team. Like those Florida teams that he coached weren't good. And they got those teams got worse while he was there, and the Sharks probably going to do the same thing. Like I don't think the Sharks are going to get any better while he's here, especially with the way things are trending now. I mean, who knows who's walking out the door at the deadline, and then what's going to happen. But then again, like there's issues that Bob Bugner creates for himself, like his inability to, you're a team that's hard up for scoring, and then you're going to take one of your top scorers this year and throw him on the fourth line, and you're down a puck moving defenseman. So let's bring in a couple of guys that aren't particularly good at moving the puck instead. Dumb. Like it's just dumb decisions.
I'm curious if anybody takes a run at Reimer at the deadline. If they might give him something.
No.
Granted, that extra year might be an issue at 2.25.
I don't think so. I think I think that I don't know. I don't think the one thing that you want to do is have some, like, if there's one position you want to have some stability, it's in net. And I don't think, like, goalies generally don't fetch big returns, right?
Right.
Now, yes, you could pick up a draft pick and you might draft a guy, but it's a draft pick's a scratch ticket, man.
Do you remember what we got for Dubnyk at the deadline last year? Wasn't it? It was like a middle round pick or something, that they got. But moving onward to the third period, I mean, again, the Islanders were just peppering Reimer. They outshoot the Sharks 13-4, and there were even some crazy scrambles there. I mean, Couture didn't help taking a holding call because he wanted to feel the jersey of Dobson. And then in overtime, that save that Reimer had, I mean, that should have been a game winner for the Islanders on the backhand from Nelson. My goodness, that was amazing.
Yeah, big save. Like, I didn't like that third goal, but by the end of the game, Reimer 100% redeemed himself. 100%.
Yeah. So you get that, and then you go into the shootout. You get Couture to score, and then Reimer shuts down Nelson, Beauvillier, Barzal to win it. So the Sharks end their streak, win 4-3 in a shootout. Thank God. That's all I'm going to say. Thank God. I know there are some in the chat, saying Team Tank approves of playing Sawchenko or #Sawtanko.
Sawtanko.
That's the best one.
I like that.
Teal Together, that's a good
one.
And Dana, good to see you in the chat, my friend. I'm cool with Boogs getting fired as long as they don't replace him with some dino like Babcock or Hitchcock.
I'm not okay with the coach getting fired if Doug Wilson's just going to either A, promote someone that's on this coaching staff already, like a John McClain, or I don't like how many fucking coaches. Again, how many coaches does Doug Wilson get to fire?
Is it Doug Wilson that gets to fire him?
Well, it's gonna be because it's the Sharks. Like,
true. But hey, we got a new scoreboard coming soon.
In reality, like, how many coaches should Doug Wilson really get to fire, especially in such a short period of time?
No, that's true. That's true.
Right? Like, at some point, like, I don't know. I just there's a lot of train of thoughts here, and like there's this just pervasive thought in the fan base, like, oh well, Doug Wilson made good trades 10 years ago, so this is all the players' fault. It's not his fault. Like, at some point, like, some accountability has to go his way.
Accountability has to go in the entire front office. I mean, whether it's the development coaches like Ricci and freaking Brian Marchment, or the scouts, or hell, like we've been saying for years, and I hate to call it out again, but Ray Sommer isn't developing these guys into megastars.
Well, you know what? Ray Sommer said Lane Peterson sucks, so he's not on. He's off my shit list today. Like,
oh, then okay.
He's not on my shit list today. He gets a show where I don't. No, but I mean, again, and I don't want to.
That's true. That's true.
I don't want to take the show off the tracks here, but like, I just like so even if you don't fire Doug Wilson, like, isn't it time to bring in someone parallel, like a fresh pair of eyes that doesn't have loyalty to anybody? Like, even like, okay, so you want to keep Doug Wilson in, that's fine, but bring in someone parallel to him, right? That has fresh eyes, that can, that has the ability to say, hey, this isn't working, because I think at some point, like, all these guys are Doug Wilson guys. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, I'm not saying like, well, Doug Wilson hired them, so it must be crap. I just think that at some point when you can't see, you've been in it for so long that I don't think it's easy to see things objectively.
Yeah, no, and it was kind of brought up on the Becker midseason call that we talked about last night. Is there a potential to do a director of hockey ops? And Becker said, yeah, but they're not actively searching for it. But at the same time, they're not going. And he said that he wasn't going to have them be a part of the rebuild. They don't want to do a rebuild in here, and I know that really got everybody all their feathers furled up, if you want to say that. Because I think we all seen where they're kind of already in one, Ian, and it just seems like,
and
it's like kind of like, we're not in a rebuild, we're in the playoffs, but we're bringing in youngsters to try out.
Well, but here's the problem, right? Like, this is the one thing that does annoy me with this team, and this really annoys me with Bob Bugner. Like, if you're gonna lose young. Yeah. Right? Like, start bringing guys up, like that, and that's the part that drives me. It's like, but no, instead of doing that, we're gonna, even though the team clearly has spots for guys, we're gonna fucking scratch Jonathan Dahlen, your fourth leading scorer. We're not going to play Ryan Merkley unless we absolutely have to.
Right.
Like, lose young.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of the opposite. I almost feel like Bugner wants the veterans in because he thinks the veterans are the way to get him the win, to get him into the playoffs. And the kids are unpredictable. He hasn't really worked with them too much, and that's why he's maybe skeptical about it.
Well, no, but I mean, here's the other thing too, right? Like, you can sit here and we can scream, oh, they should scratch this guy and scratch that guy, whatever. But like, those guys make guaranteed money. Those guys are going to be here longer than Bob Bugner in most cases.
Very true.
Like, and that's like, and again, I'm not trying to defend Bob Bugner here at this point, but like, this is the reality of it, right? Like, a guy like Mark-Edward Vlasic will be here long after Bob Bugner, unless they buy him out. Right? Brent Burns, he's going to be here long after Bob Bugner's here. Like, you think Bob Bugner's going to last another 4 years here?
I'd be
not
stunned.
A chance. Not a chance. Like, Bob Bugner at best is the guy who gets to sit around until, the team starts turning the corner, and then they go on a little skid, he gets fired, and then they bring in the actual guy. Like, we've seen this story 100 times around the league.
Right. And it's just going to be an interesting next month. Heck, what is today? The 24th. An interesting 3 weeks to the deadline, and what happens there. That I don't know if you caught any of them of what was said about the media conference yesterday with Becker. But yeah, I mean, it really ruffled the feathers. Like, yes, okay, we're getting a shiny new scoreboard next season. We're not rebuilding. We want to win right now. That's what Hasa wants. That's our plan, not DW's plan. Our plan is where we're going with it.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, right? And I think here's the thing, like you said earlier though, but like any season where you don't make the playoffs, like you're rebuilding. As long as they don't somehow buy at the deadline to try and get back into this thing, you're rebuilding, right? And I think the one thing that people think that we're not rebuilding because we haven't stripped it down to the bolts.
Right.
Right? But you don't have to strip it down to the bolts to rebuild. It's certainly, I mean, if you strip it down to the bolts, then obviously you want to make sure that when you have your fire sale, you're getting a lot of assets back. But the Sharks aren't going to get a lot of assets back easily for a lot of the guys that they would have to move. There's not going to be guys lining up to take, I don't care how much cap you retain on Mark Edward Vlasic. There's no one lining up to take him.
No. As much as wishful thinking for Montreal, they're not going to give anybody up.
But they're not. Montreal's in the same boat we are. Why are they going to take Mark Edward Vlasic in his 4 years at $7 million? Like, it's such a pipe dream. So there's some guys that obviously would get value. Like I've said on the show a million times, Brent Burns is a guy I think that GMs would line up if you dangled him out there.
Not anymore.
People would take Logan Couture off our hands
with the amount of contracts he has left.
Yeah, you think Logan Couture is not worth his contract?
Oh, I do, but I just think the term.
No, someone would buy it. Someone would take Logan Couture off our hands. If we dangled Logan Couture, some GM would take him. Yeah. Some GM would take Brent Burns. But then the problem is, so you get rid of those guys, right? And you're going to strip it down to the bolts and get rid of those guys. Well, the Vlasics are still here. The Shimmicks are still here.
Right.
Right? Like, and they're not going anywhere anytime soon unless you buy them out. So, like, I don't know. I mean, I know people are frustrated because they're like, oh, just rebuild and sell everything. But, like, you still need guys when you need somebody that's going to be around when this thing finally turns. You need veteran players. It can't just all be a bunch of, 22-year-old kids. We watch what happened. Like, that's what happens. Like people around, oh, you can't do a rebuild because look at Edmonton. Well, yeah, if you come back with a bunch of 22-year-olds and no veterans at all of any significance, yeah, then you are Edmonton. Like, you have to have guys that are going to be there when it's over. Do you want that guy to be Mark Edward Vlasic? Well, I sure as fuck don't.
No, I'm good. I'm good. All right, so the Sharks win this one 4-3 in a shootout. A little bit of a roll call instead of a poll question. Where are you watching us from tonight? Locally here in the Bay Area, maybe outside the Bay Area in California, like Ian is in Canada, so we'll call that North America. Or if you're on the other side of the world, or other, we'll let you go. And of course, we'd be remiss if we didn't recognize that there is stuff going on besides sports going on. So we're glad to be, distracting you with some fun times talking about a game. So we're glad you're here with us.
Yeah, God, what a mess.
Yeah, it's scary. It's frustrating. So I see, looking at Fresno, Tiger from Brisbane, Australia, Hot Wheels in Utah, Currently experiencing flooding, Tiger. We could use some of that water up here in the up in California for sure. So let's quickly look at the standings. We're at 52. Oh, like I'm on the team. The Sharks are 7th in the wild card, 7th in the Pacific at 52 points. Winnipeg is a point ahead of them. Vancouver at 56. Dallas, Anaheim, and Edmonton currently are tied in points at 59. Edmonton currently holding down that second wild card spot right now. And like you mentioned it earlier, but Vancouver just trouncing Calgary tonight in those. What do you think of those skate jerseys? Those 94 skate jerseys?
Vancouver is. I like them. I mean, I remember. I mean, those were like when I was younger. That was their sweaters, right? Vancouver's had some really weird jerseys since. I like them. But that just might be the nostalgia talking. I think Vancouver's done a really crappy job of coming up with any decent sweaters. Like, I've never really liked Vancouver sweaters.
Yeah, I've always thought they could do a little bit better. Going back to the original uniform style, which has been nice, but they are just like dying to like use that skate and rink logo for so many weird reasons, and I don't get it. But it was nice to see them break out.
Fanatical's up late with me. Oh, right on.
Oh,
another of the 2 a.m. club.
Fanatical Teal Beater. Is that New Hampshire and Florida? Oh my gosh. Laurel, Redding, Alex, Beltran, Central Valley. Gotcha. Good to see you. PJ, the cold hard streets of East Mountain View. Oh, jeez. Grand Azure in Phoenix. I feel for you trying to see a Sharks game next season over there. Dana, you're in Missouri. Oh, my goodness.
Constant state of misery.
Oh, wow.
Oh, Missouri, right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Laurel, our good friend up in hell. Oh, I'm sorry, Reading. Oh, jeez. So let's get to the scores really quick. The Bruins beat the Kraken.
What are we doing here? God damn it. I thought I put an end to this.
I mean, it's just the fun. It's funny that the next two Sharks opponents are playing each other, but they win in overtime. Right. But, yeah, Vancouver, big win.
I'll allow it.
Thank you. I'll be this quick. Predators win in a shootout before their outdoor game 2-1. Rangers 4-1 over the Capitals. The Panthers lose again. What the? That's crazy. They lose to the Blue Jackets 6-3. Leafs win 3-1 over the Wild, and the Penguins got trounced by the Devils 6-1. Wow. Jesper Bratt.
Good night to be a dog.
Wow. Yeah. So that brings it up to us. And for a quick little wrap around. So Saturday night, it's Sharks and Bruins, and a beginning of a back-to-back for the Sharks. There's no way Reimer starts back-to-back, is there? Is there?
If Aiden Hill can't go, I mean, possible. God, I don't know, man. Bob Bugner coaches this team. I have no fucking idea. Like, nothing surprises me when it comes to like Bob Bugner's weird lineup decisions. Nothing really surprises me at this point.
Yeah, I mean, what was it? It wasn't until the Sharks were officially eliminated that last year that Kozhinash and Melnichuk got sufficient game time, unless it was
right.
Work.
Like, but like this, the thing is though, is they're out. They're not mathematically out, but they're out. Like, they're not climbing back into this. You have to jump over too many teams. These teams you're not beating. Like, the Sharks during this stretch dropped a bunch of points to division rivals. Mm-hmm. Like, they're not climbing back into this. They'd have to win every game, and
they'd have to get hot.
They'd have to get super hot, and other teams would all have to somehow lose and not play each other.
Yeah, but
like, they're not getting back in this,
and
so that's the frustrating thing, because it's like, again, if you're gonna lose young.
And it doesn't help as well that you're getting outshot 30-9 in the game in the last 45 minutes. Like, what was it? I'm trying to pull it back up here, but it was some ridiculous thing where the Islanders just kept peppering them at everything. That let's see, 35-14 after the first period.
Yeah, I mean, and here's the thing too, right? Like, especially like with the way things are going on the Barracuda too. Like, it's not like by not calling them up, you're leaving these kids in a better situation. The Barracuda are just as much of a gong show as the Sharks,
if not worse.
Which is scary. If not worse, right? So it's like that's the part that frustrates me, is that it's not like you're leaving them in a better position. It's not like you're leaving them in a winning culture. Oh yeah, we're leaving the Barracuda because they're winning so many games. No, they're awful. They're fucking terrible. They're worse than the Sharks somehow. Like, you're not saving them. You're not leaving them in a better situation. You know, like I'm glad that if Eklund had to go somewhere, it wasn't to the Barracuda this year. Not that he's doing not that his team in Sweden is doing a whole lot better, but at least he's home. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, that's the part that frustrates me. Like, it's not like, I understand if in some situations where if your farm team is really good, then yeah, fine, whatever. Maybe you want to leave them in a better situation. You don't, not that we've heard anything about this locker room being incredibly toxic this year, or people, frustrated with the losing to the point where things are rough, but like, what are they going to do? Lose more games like they're doing on the Barracuda? Big deal.
Yeah. It's just frustrating at times to see these guys play, but tonight wasn't one of those nights. So kudos to them for getting a win. Thank God. I think we probably both would have lost it if they had lost to the Islanders, a team that, in my mind, they should have beaten tonight. So. In case you missed anything or you want to watch this again, check us out on tealtownusa.com or your favorite podcatcher on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and again, always available at tealtownusa.com. One thing I did want to mention, Ian, and PJ just mentioning in a chat, what do you guys think of Dzingel? He can handle the puck and carry it up ice. Two things the Sharks struggle mightily with at times.
So I tweeted this out after they made the signing. So forgive me, forgive me if you're a regular follower of my Twitter feed for just repeating a lot of stuff I tweet on here. But like, Ryan Dzingel, like a couple years ago, was putting up a bucket of goals, right? On the Senators. But anything he's done that hasn't been in Ottawa hasn't been good. That being said, Ryan Dzingel for sure is an NHLer. And, like, his contract isn't awful. You got him for free. You didn't have to give up anything to get him. He's an NHLer. He's for sure a guy who belongs in the NHL, which there are a few pieces on the Sharks forward group that I wouldn't say that with any confidence. The same thing, like, oh, that guy is definitely an NHLer. So I think I thought it was a great pickup for them. Like, it's, what's the worst that could happen? He doesn't score? Well, he wasn't scoring before anyway. But like, you've got other idiots that can't score too, that you are consistently putting in your top six. Noah Gregor, I'm looking at you. Right? So I mean, Noah
Gregor, you poor thing.
So I think it's a nice pickup. I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen? He doesn't score, big deal.
Yeah, no,
he can join a bunch of other Sharks forwards that can't put the puck in the net.
PJ responds back, better than Peterson. Yes,
yeah, like Peterson's not an NHLer, right? No. Like, there are guys that continually drop in this lineup that aren't NHLers. I think Ryan Dzingel is, and I think hopefully he can give us some points, but it's such a, like, what's the worst could happen? Nothing. It's not like, again, it's not like he's going to blow up the cap situation or anything like that. He's not signed for a stupid long time. It's a low risk, high reward type of thing. And if he can get going, I mean, it's great for the Sharks.
Gotcha. And PJ, thank you very much for your super chat donation, $10 super chat. Of course, they always go to help support the show. And he says, sorry, I hate Venmo. Totally fine. That's fine. But we appreciate it. So we'll be back with you Saturday night following Sharks and Bruins. That's a 7:30 start. I know Landy will be here. Are you on the schedule for that one?
I have no idea. Probably.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see if I have to leave the tank early to get back home for that one. But either way, we will be here for that. And of course, on Sunday, it will be a Technologist Takeover.
That's right.
Jerk, yes, we get a night off, and AJ and Jerk will be talking about the week that was in Sharks hockey up until midnight. So be on the lookout for that. Also, if you haven't already, AJ and I did a recap of the Becker presser on Wednesday, so you can check that out for all of our content. So keep it all right here. And if you are watching live, leave a comment down below about what you thought about tonight's game and everything. So with that, we'll head out. Thank you for watching. Ian, any final thoughts besides go to bed?
Yeah, I'm gonna go to bed.
Right, me too.
Give me a second here.
Okay.
I'm gonna play us out.
Oh,
apparently someone wants me to play, so I'm gonna see if you guys can hear it.
Whoa.
And then I'll probably get us copyright strike because something. Give me a second here.
All good. So he's at Ian Blogs Hockey. I'm at Puck Guy 14. PJ, look what you did. You got Ian to play us out.
God. I'm gonna play us out. Let's see if we can. Maybe. Give me a second.
You won't get this on Brody's YouTube channel.
You don't get this. Yeah. You think Brody's gonna play some bass for you?
I love it.
Oh my God. All right.
And now here to play us out is Ian Reed on his beautiful guitar.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Okay. See if I can. I'm not very good.
Oh.
All right. Let's see if you guys can. Ready?
Go for it.
See, I'm pretty bad.
Hey.
Some Billie Jean.
Nice. Good job, man. I know.
Like Wonderwall. Yeah, I can't do it.
We're taking your request up until 3 o'clock in the morning. No, but hey, good job, bud.
Yeah, there you go. So there's me terribly playing bass, but I'm getting better.
Hey, we all have our fun stuff that we've been doing for the pandemic and such. So, hey, Ian, thank you as always.
Yeah,
he'll play us out. I'm gonna play the silent outro then. So until then, keep it real, keep it teal, keep it real till. We'll join you in the Discord shortly. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks, everyone. Nice job, Ian.
Ciao.
Ciao.